Welcome back, and welcome to the Good Faith Podcast, where we maneuver around toxic debauchery, attempting to find harmony with our fellow man and to dissect society's caustic degeneracy. If it's a pre-apocalyptic dystopia that you seek, then look no further, because right here it is. I'm your host, Ninjah Bullock. We understand you could have been a million other places, and that time's the most precious commodity any of us have, so from the bottom of our heart, we'd like to share our gratitude with you all. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Due to the sensitive nature of some of our topics, we hope that you will shield youngins from some of the vulgarity that may be spewed here. It must be noted that the views expressed by the panel are not necessarily the views of the Good Faith Podcast. We are no fiduciary. We assume no culpability of investment performance as a result of following our financial advice. Our simple aim is to entertain and inform. Anybody living in the greater Philadelphia area interested in making an appearance on our show can reach me in a DM on Facebook or Instagram at Christopher Bulick. See our Patreon link in the description if you'd like to make a campaign contribution to facilitate our meteoric rise.
There it is! It's beautiful! Take your hat off, boy! That's a dollar bill!
In all seriousness, though, times are tough. Any proceeds we receive will be going towards the rent, keeping the lights on, medicating my cat with all of his health concerns. So once again, if you feel that you've been given value by us, it takes a little extra effort to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, so every time we go live, you can be notified. Speaking of notifications, this is your notification. The Good Faith Podcast is now available not only on YouTube and Twitch while we're live, but there's archives on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Patreon, Amazon, Samsung. Yo, what's up, Milo? Thank you. Yeah, you know my motto. I say, look good, smell good, play good, Milo. Samsung Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and RSS.com. We'll keep pushing out these episodes so long as our following stays growing. The path to notoriety will be for our listeners to spread the good word of the pod. If you have somebody in mind who would agree with our content, if they may be informed, if they want to ridicule us, send a link to your friends and family. All publicity is good publicity. Our objective is to have a balance between the red and the blue. So if you have somebody in mind who enjoys listening to podcasts, please spread our channel. Now, the fragrance of the week, Dolcetto Light Blue. It's formulated with citrusy top notes of grapefruit, mandarin orange, along with a mix of seawater, juniper, musk, and amberwood. Dolcetto Light Blue is a woody aromatic, woody aquatic fragrance designed for adventurous men. It's long-lasting. In addition to enjoying a fresh, energizing scent, the durability of Dolcetto Light Blue will amaze even the most pretentious people. The long-lasting freshness of this premium fragrance will last all day. I'm telling you, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. The shirt of the week, Van Heusen. Slacks of the week, Jeffrey Bean. Tie of the week, you can't even see it, but I got like a Dockers tie on. It's like under all this stuff. I had to jack up the air conditioning just so I could wear a sweater vest and not be sweating my balls off. Movie of the week is The Martian, and that's the book of the week, The Martian. It's part of the Men of Action mandatory literature that we're supposed to read. So I watched the movie. I'll probably read the audiobook as well, but it's a good movie with Matt Damon. Matt Damon gets stranded on Mars, and it, inspired me to name this podcast The Drowned Rat Experiment, because there, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit here. We can talk about it later. There was an experiment called the Drowned Rat Experiment, and, it happened in the 50s, so these days there's no way that any scientist could get away with doing this. Who's the scientist? The scientist is Kurt Richter. So in 1950, Kurt Richter did an experiment where he took rats and he drowned them in water, and so at first he just drowned some rats in water, and at first he found that the rats could last at tops 15 minutes before they gave up and drowned to death. Then what he would do is he would take some rats, he would rescue them from the water, give them hope, and then put them back in the water and see how long they could last if they had hope that they would be saved. And what he found was that the rats that had been rescued, they topped out at 60 hours. 60 hours. So the rats with no hope lasted 15 minutes. The rats that had been given hope lasted 60 hours. And there's I think there's something to be said about that, about like a human being and a rat and all of our capacity for suffering if we are rescued and given hope. So, yeah, I think that's like a very phenomenal experiment. Definitely blurred some lines of like ethics and stuff like that. But anyway, without further ado, maybe it's time that I introduce our guests. So, hey, I got Bryan and Steve here. How are you guys?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Chris.
So, at this time, and you guys are both in Atlanta, right?
Correct.
And you guys have like hung out in person a few times, right?
That's correct.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah.
Bryan makes a good wingman, for sure.
Actually,
Okay.
Steve's got Wingman of the Year award in my book, so
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
we have some fun.
Yeah.
And
That's been great.
what do you like? What's your what's your guys' strategy for wingman ended up?
Honestly, a lot of it is just trying to be a good person, right? I mean, I put myself in the other person's shoes, say, what would I want to get out of it? A lot of it is just taking pictures because a lot of the, with social media these days, the value is not only having a good time, but also showing that you're having a good time so that other people can experience that and raise your status. And so a lot of it is just taking pictures and then just knowing the places to go. Those are probably two big ones. You know, not being a dick, joking around, trying to meet people and introduce people, you know, going out there to meet people. And whenever you go out, you want to meet people and introduce them to your friends, kind of thing. So it's not super controversial. Then I make fun, and then I make fun of his clothes behind his back.
Yeah, he totally does. Actually, I can hear it. He's not really like discreet about it at all, but it's in good play. We play different little social games with each other and with people like assassins and different cool games that just entertain ourselves. Just go out and just have some fun and socialize, meet new people, get Instagrams, and create content that people like and makes us have just a good time.
What's assassin like? You like poke each other with your like fingers, like you're stabbing each other, or
we can't tell you. It's a secret.
All right.
Bryan pretends he knows what he's doing, but he doesn't.
I mean, that's the name of the game. You just got to be in the flow. You just got to go with it and roll with it. It's just having a good time.
Bryan is the younger version of your Uncle Earl from Thanksgiving.
Damn it, man. I mean, and I make it look good too. So what are you gonna do?
So yeah.
Speaking of flow, because I know flow is a Men of Action approved literature, and Martian's an approved literature. Have you guys read either of those two titles, or is there like a book on the Men of Action reading list that you guys really want to praise?
Oh my gosh. Go ahead, Bryan. You go first.
Well, I mean, recently I have finished the Atomic Habits, and that maybe is one of the books that I added to the top 10 that's changed my life. What I found in that book that was really helpful was that setting my gym clothes out, at the end of my bed, and I had to pretty much climb over them to do anything. So I get out of the bed in the morning, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, but I've had to climb over my gym clothes to, start my day. And that really has motivated me to, last week I did 5 days in the gym. So the other half of that is like removing obstacles that, could hinder you. So funny enough, I put all my chocolate in a bin and I put it in the freezer. So instead of just walking by my desk and just popping some chocolate and adding a bunch of calories to my life that was unnecessary, now I have to actually go to the freezer, open the box, and then unwrap it. And so I've had to make a conscious effort instead of an unconscious effort to consume those calories. And those two things alone has really actually helped me a lot in life. So Steve, what about you?
Well, I would agree about the habits thing because honestly, Atomic Habits this is not on the MOA book. I mentioned it, or on the list, so I mentioned it to Mike. But Atomic Habits got its origin from a guy named Scott Adams, and he wrote a book called, he is the cartoonist that created Dilbert. And he had a book that talked about, I can't remember, what's the name of it? How to fail at everything and still win big kind of thing. And basically it is a self-help book that was a precursor to Atomic Habits. And Scott Adams is probably my favorite author. in terms of what he has written. The other book that I got, so in terms of habits and that type of thing, I would say what Bryan says is correct, is that you make a lot of the things that are getting in your way. For example, one of the things that you could do if you're struggling with going to the gym is effectively give yourself credit for just going to the gym, even if you get to the parking lot and then come back, or if you get to the front door and come back and you never work out. Because the reality is that the hardest thing about going to the gym is actually going. Once you get there, most of the time you end up going and it's kind of over with, but it's hard to do that. So think about all of the steps in the process before you get there, you know?
Yeah, it's
So
kind of the principle of 1%. If you do 1% better each day and have this kind of better by the day mentality that you can cultivate, then in 100 days, you've done 100% better. So I really enjoyed that book. And I didn't even realize that wasn't on
correct.
the list, but that's definitely one recently that's changed my life.
The other books that he has on the list that are probably the most profound are the Alex Hermosi books, $100 million offers, $100 million leads, and one that just came out a couple of days ago called $100 million money models. I went to an Ivy League business school. I went to Cornell, and this may be a blasphemy to some of my professors there, but if I'm counseling young people to say, do you want to master and go to a school like that and learn everything there that you possibly can, or to learn and master what Hermosi is talking about in his books, I would say Hermosi, because most of it, let me rephrase that, almost all of it is by far more practical and implementable in a very, very tangible manner, and you can do really, really well. So Alex Hermosi is a he actually went to, I think he went to Vanderbilt Business School, or he got in and then chose not to go. Or I think he went to Vanderbilt undergrad, then chose not to go to business school. But he's a very, very impressive guy. Not only is he an author and he writes very, very well, to the point where it's very easy to digest, but it's also very, very useful and so in depth. One of the things that I have been so impressed with the MOA program that Mike has is the level of depth to the program. With respect to, if you scratch the surface on Mike, and he's got a lot of stuff where there's pictures with pretty girls and that type of thing, that's fine. But there's a level of depth in terms of organization and business and leadership and how to organize your own social life and how to create that. And you scratch the surface, and for a lot of people, there's not much underneath that. Mike's the real deal. I've met Mike several times in person. He is a deep, deep thinker, and he lives the stuff, and he is terrific. And Hermosi is the same way. I've not met Hermosi in person, but I have gone through the depth of going through the process and the level of, I'm telling you, if you master those books and you do the things, you almost can't help but make money. It's really, really impressive. And so if you're asking me about the MOA program that has been the most impactful to me, it's been the habits, specifically Atomic Habits, like Bryan said, that were as a precursor from Scott Adams, and also their Alex Hermosi books. Phenomenal.
Okay. But there are other books that are phenomenal on that list too. I mean, it's a pretty substantial list. He goes through courses and pillars, as he calls them. As you go through these pillars, then he says he gives you homework to read a book. So it's not just do this, do what I say. He backs it up with science and also literature that really sink it home. Like The Tipping Point was one of the first ones.
Oh yeah, I really like The Tipping Point. Yeah.
Yeah,
Canadian author Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the books are phenomenal.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of any experiment. I haven't read the Marshmallow Principle. Have you guys read that one yet?
Is that the one where the experiment they did where they gave kids one marshmallow now and two marshmallows in half an hour or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or it was this one now or two later, so you got a reward for being patient.
Yeah, and so what they ended up doing was I'm pretty sure they followed they followed these kids throughout life and found that the kids that delayed the instant gratification at first for a larger reward later on down the line, they had just better lives in every single way because they had that muscle to delay instant gratification. So I mean it's actually kind of funny, but like one of my favorite books has been The Setup by Dan Bilzerian, and I'm trying to have that type of strategy, like a long-term strategy. I'll do the work up front so I can get the rewards down the line, and I can have like low perceived effort, but guys around here know that like it is anything but that. I'm putting all the effort in up front, and I'm doing it in isolation, so that way at the end, I can get the results
and make it look easy.
Yeah, like I'm trying
make it
to
look like it's luck, but it's never luck. It's always the amount of work that you put in up front before you release your product or ship whatever it is that you're shipping.
Yeah, nobody wants to climb the mountain, but everybody wants the view. Like if you put in a bunch of work, you maybe at the end everyone can tell you how lucky you are or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I'm trying to be like the swan, like look very graceful on the surface, but if you look down under the water, like my feet are like flapping, really hard, just trying to keep myself afloat,
You know what? You just described every human being on Earth.
Yep.
We're every single person struggles with, they're not where they want to be, and to a certain extent, we all want to improve ourselves, and we all struggle. So, and we all try to put our best foot forward.
Yeah.
It's about the grind.
So, exactly.
So,
but in fairness, let's just expand on that. That is one of the key things, and one of the reasons why I really like the MOA program, is because as men, we're going to fail. Everybody fails all the time, but if you're continuing to work towards your goal and understand that you're going to accept failure and keep moving, that is a very powerful thing. And if you have a community of guys that also think the same way, they will help bring you along and help you do those things. So when you actually do have a setback, they'll say, okay, come on guys, let's keep going. And I would say that by far is the most impressive thing for me. I mean, it's just been great.
Yeah,
to
the
have
community
a tribe of like-minded guys.
Yeah, that community is spectacular, and there's
except for Bryan. He's a pain in the ass.
I try. But yeah, that community is pretty spectacular because if you need anything, you just reach out. And when you've got a group of men who are all dedicated to taking action and helping each other out, there's really nothing that you can't accomplish. And I think that every man out there, young, middle, or old, no offense, Steve, but everybody who like really seeks and asks for knowledge in the right space will get it. And that's one of the things about MOA that's really impressive.
Yeah. Okay, so at this time, for anyone who is not aware, fuck. One sec. AirPod down.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
I think he lost both of them at the same time.
Warning. He did one came out, then he moved his head, the other one popped out.
At this point, would you guys introduce your name, your age, your occupation, your highest level of education completed while I find this AirPod?
Go ahead, Bryan.
All right, my name is Bryan Popham. I am an entrepreneur. I have multiple companies that I own and or manage. Most of my companies are in the IT, content creation, drone videography, and MSP space. My highest grade of completion is I finished high school. I have lots of certificates that I hold in the IT sector and a drone Part 107 pilot's license.
Okay. And Steve?
My name is Steve Sharabura. I'm 61 years old. I live in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in Canada. I was raised in Montreal, Canada. I do speak French. I did my undergraduate at the University of Western Ontario in economics. And then I got my MBA from Cornell University. After I graduated from Cornell, I moved down to Atlanta to work in a consulting gig, and I did consulting for quite a while, traveling 5 days a week. While I was traveling, I got my pilot's license on a Cessna 172. I've got about 93 hours. I'm not current anymore, but being a pilot is fun. And now I was recently the CEO of a drug development company called Enzalytics, a publicly traded OTC called ENZC. And now I am buying and fixing up small businesses. So people do that with real estate. I do that with small businesses. And I do that with my own money and sometimes with other people's money as well. So.
And is a Cessna?
Pardon me?
Is a Cessna a single motor airplane?
Single engine, wings.
Single engine.
I also trained on a Bonanza, but the Cessna 172 is the basic one. It's got the wings up high so you can see down very easily. It's a 4-seater plane with one engine.
Okay. And it
is by far the most common plane that people learn on.
Yo, what's up, Rick? How you doing? Thank you for joining us. And then Cornell, is that Vermont?
Upstate New York, Ithaca, New York.
Upstate New York. Okay. Oh yeah. So my ex-girlfriend went to my ex-girlfriend went to Ithaca, and what is there? There's like
It's the other one's called Ithaca College.
Yeah. She was a bomber. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Ithaca College is a D3 school, and Cornell is a D1. So.
Wow.
Oh, and I played rugby when I was at both in college and at Cornell.
Did you?
I didn't know you played rugby.
Pardon me?
I didn't know you played rugby.
Yeah, I'm good. I played quite a bit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I learned something new about you.
The other cool thing is, so I don't know if it counts as a varsity sport or not. We played other schools, but I don't know if it was a club sport or not. I'm not actually not sure. Probably
Circle
not.
jerk?
Exactly. but I've got 2 kids, and they're both D1 athletes as well. My daughter just graduated from Georgia Tech, and was tennis player at Georgia Tech, All-American, and my son swam at University of Pittsburgh. And so, I played D1, and both my kids did too. And I'm very, very tall.
Oh,
I'm 6
He's short. Don't listen to him. He's so short. It's ridiculous.
So
I gotta get all my clothes. So we do a fit check on the clothes.
If you want to, you look like you're in some pretty stylish threads. What is that? Is that peach or pink?
AirPods from Apple, hair gel from Dollar Store, hair gel. Okay. Shirt custom from Tom James is a custom clothier. Pants, I'm not sure whoops. AirPod down.
AirPod down. Down Periscope.
Pants from I don't know where the pants are from. They're white, and then I got shoes are Allen Edmonds.
Okay.
So shoes and belt from Allen Edmonds.
What about
I'm
a
wearing
chain?
I'm wearing underwear below the waist, so I'm not gonna display my fit below the waist.
Do you guys like rocking chains? I like a good cross.
I've got nothing. The only jewelry I have is a watch.
Okay.
This watch my father bought in Switzerland when he was 23 years old. It was in late 50s, and it's an Omega watch. I can't remember what it's called, but it's really nice. It's hugely sentimental to me.
It reminds me of Pulp. Have you seen Pulp Fiction with like Bruce Willis when Bruce Willis has his father's watch?
Up my butt. Up my butt for 6 years.
He'd be damned if he was going to let some.
Not happening.
That's such a great movie.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite. Actually, that's number 1 cult classic.
Yeah, that's a. Wait, you look like you got a nice watch. Let me see your watch.
It's nothing.
I like it though. See, I just rock.
It's an
I just rock like the Apple Watch. My fucking sleeves are too. I just got an Apple Watch, but.
Well, I used to have. What's the watch? There's another one where you put it on. I can't remember what it's called. It tracks your heartbeat, all that kind of stuff.
Fitbit.
I had a Fitbit, and I wore it some, but I just found it to be annoying. So I just, if I track my steps, I just take my phone and it tracks it good enough, so it's all right.
I've got a Wahoo for tracking steps and sleep and stuff. It's this off-brand that one of my friends actually was the developer for, and he gifted it to me for birthday or Christmas many years ago. I can't remember what, but I've got a few watches. Romani is my favorite because it feels soft and comfortable. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just a very comfortable wear.
I had a date with a girl the other night. This may be a month ago, and she was originally from New York City. She came down to Atlanta, and I showed her my watch, and she was like, "Oh, that's nice, but you really should consider getting." And I said I was thinking about buying a nicer watch when I've got a little bit of money, and because one of the deals I've got working on, if it comes through, it'll be great. And she goes, "No, get a Patek Philippe. You can't get the Rolex. It's not good enough. You got it." I'm like, what's Patek Philippe? I don't even know. So I guess I'm supposed to know, but I don't.
What's the what's the average like resale value on that? Is she like?
I think like Rolexes are like $10,000 to $20,000, and I mean some of them are higher. Patek Philippe are like 40 to 50.
Oh my God, So all I have is an associate's degree. And,
does the word red flag come to mind?
Yeah. Like
I was gonna say gold digger, but something in that line.
That's pretty close to a year's salary at my job. $40,000. I'm not a particularly high earner, so I would.
Oh, then she gave me shit for not having a black American Express card.
It's always them. It's always them. I'll bet you she's I'll bet you she's a bunch of money in debt. Probably has like an associate's degree, just like me. Probably offers very little, financial value to the world, and
In fairness, I will say that she does have a decent job. She's divorced and she's getting some alimony from her ex-husband.
Must be nice.
She's not making a lot of money, but I think she did live a pretty good lifestyle. And that's one of the reasons. But she just moved down here. So the part that I felt sad telling her is that if a guy is that put together and he's got that much going on for him, the likelihood of him dating somebody with 2 teenage kids is relatively low. He's probably going to date somebody a little bit younger.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know for sure. Everybody makes their own decision, right? But I chat with guys, if they're really successful, they would like to date people without that much baggage. So.
Yeah, and Michael always talks about it as men in all cultures across the world, as their socioeconomic status increases, the age of the age difference between them and their like spouses tends to grow.
Sure.
Men who are rich like young women, and so.
No. Hold on. That is incorrect. Okay, incorrect. It is not men that are rich that like young women.
It's all men.
It is men like young women.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now, in fairness, there's a couple of some guys won't admit it, or some guys will say that they want the intellectual stimulation of somebody that's older, and those are all true things because you don't decide on dating somebody based on one criteria, but every scientific study that's ever been done that says that whether you're 15 or 85, guys all want to date women that are late teens, early 20s kind of thing, that are effectively maximally fertile kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So, and there's other factors too. If it was just physical, that's the case. There's other factors too.
Yeah. And part of the it's got its pros and its cons, but part of dating is and intersexual dynamics is that when women come onto the dating marketplace at 18, it's kind of like the stock exchange opening up at 9:30. It's just like, they're just like, they're getting all this attention right off the bat the second that they turn 18. Us guys are like, you know, we're kind of like left in the background at that young age, and you know, because we must become men must become women are born with inherent value. So
right, unless you're an athlete or you are I mean, there are guys that can do real well at that age, but it's hard. So
yeah,
like I remember when I was
Justin Bieber or something like that.
Right, or
well, that's just because he already has status.
Arch Manning.
Yeah, if you have status at that age, then you totally, you know, don't have any problem. But I think most men, I think the average is like, you know, first million is sometime between 45 and 60 is their first million. And so most men aren't really even put together until late 30s at minimum. So 35 and up is kind of that, like, I think 38 is the prime time for, and younger women start seeking older men at, you know, they start realizing that 18-year-olds are, no offense to 18-year-old boys, but they're still boys. They haven't got it figured out. They don't know where they're going, what their career is. You know, they have no assets to their name. They don't have anything to provide. Mm-hmm. And, you know, unless they have enough status where hypergamy kicks in, the truth is that, you know, younger women seek older men just the same way that older men seek younger women. So that's kind of the dynamic of the male-female, I believe.
Yeah. So can you guys tell me? Can you tell me your social media, your Instagram handle, if you are so inclined, and I will put it in the show notes for anybody interested in following you.
Yeah, my Instagram is my name. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, but I think both of our Instagrams are our name. Mine's Bryan with the Y .Popham Popham on Instagram.
And Steve, you are
mine is just my name. No spaces, no dots, nothing. Just Steve Sharabura.
Can you spell Sharabura for me?
Sure. Sharabura. Sharabura. It's a Ukrainian name. My grandparents were from Ukraine.
All right. And what are your guys' relationship status and duration of longest relationship?
Steve, you want to fill that one first?
Sure. Longest relationship for me, I was married for just under 25 years. I've been divorced officially a little over a year. I'm currently single. I'm open to having a long-term relationship, but I am not necessarily seeking it, because I find that in the past when I would be seeking it hard, I would, you know, you throw off the scent of desperation and that's it. So, you know, so I'm out there dating and, you know, and then what was the other, other than that, and by the way, we dated 3 years before that. So technically we were together 28 years, and she's a great person. Just didn't work out. She got remarried. She's a nice person.
All right. So my longest relationship was 16 years. With my baby mama. I have a son, a 12-year-old son, and he is the best thing I've created. I'm just so gifted with him. He's super smart in AP, all honor roll, likes to wrestle and play soccer and video games. But we go on adventures all the time. I am currently single. I've been through some other long-term relationships, but I'm currently just dating and just having fun and working on my career right now. So, yeah. It's fun times.
All right. And I am single. My duration of my longest relationship was about 3 years, three and a half years, something like that. Yeah, I mean, and I've never in my life been like been particularly high value. So I'm in a stage of, you know, recreation, trying to like recreate myself as a man with something to offer, you know, because like you know, I've said it in the past, like the only thing I've had to offer women in the past was this dick, you know what I mean? Like, so now I'm hopefully gonna be a guy with like a 401k and with like a stable job and with a car and with like a shelter and
podcast.
Yeah.
And a 10-inch penis.
No,
yeah,
I wish.
Forget that.
Not bad.
Can't forget that. Chris, how old are you?
Man, I know I'm gonna get.
I am 34 years old. I just turned 34.
Oh, you're talking to the old guys then.
Yeah, you're reaching prime age, bro.
Yeah. I'm hoping like the setup. If I spend the next 10 years of my life, with my head down, just working hard, doing the right thing, that by the time I'm like 45, I can be, like high status, being an attractive man who, some woman would be lucky to settle down with and stuff like that.
I think most of that's like 35 to 38. So you're like pretty much there, and you're already starting to think of 401ks and starting podcasts. So I mean, this is just what I was talking about earlier, that about this age is when men stop like playing around and thinking all they have is a big dick, and actually start focusing on, what they're doing, where they're going, start thinking about the future. This is not just you. This is all males. We play until we're 35.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, from the age of 12 to 29 or 30, I just, I was like a drunken fuck boy. I would just be trying to get loaded and party all day long, I definitely, permanently like slowed down my, brain, definitely like delayed my maturity and stuff like that. So I kind of have the like emotional and mental maturity of like I don't know, like an 18-year-old or something at this point. But
me too.
Me three. Hey,
too.
I call it 11.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Let's go young guys.
Hey Chris, one thing I will say is that I think, can I give you some constructive feedback?
Yeah.
Your focus on the 401k is noble but faulty. Let me tell you why. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And the only reason why a 401k is really useful is because it allows you to defer taxes by doing it. But don't feel like you have to have that to do that. What you bring to the party, above and beyond your looks, and you're kind of dorky looking, but you're not bad. But my point is that if you are a guy who is doing podcasts and you have a direction and a purpose in life, and you're doing and you're working on your fitness and you're getting more fit, that is better than 95% of guys. And so you're going to be just fine having that purpose, having standards, and demonstrating, not just saying that you're going to do something, but actually doing it, and being able to prove it. And then if you do that, like if you can point to your podcast, people, when you walk in the room, your body makes a statement. So don't feel like you have to do all these things before you can do it. You're already better than 95% of guys, and that's just in the U.S. If you count worldwide, you're probably better than 99%.
Yep. Yeah.
You live better than a king did 200 years ago.
Yeah, I think if you only make like, I think it's like, I don't know, somewhere between like $42,000 and $45,000 a year, you are already a 1% person by like a global standard. It's just that we live in America, the most opulent, wealthy nation in the world. So
it's even more crazy than that. So I remember, so I studied economics undergraduate, right? Mm-hmm. So to give you an idea, the United States is almost 50% more prosperous than most countries in Western Europe. So if you're making $40,000 in regular terms over there, that's the equivalent. The average person, that person would make 60 over here as a general rule. And it's the same in Canada, where I grew up. Canada, U.S. used to be very similar, but the U.S. is starting to pull away. Mm-hmm. But think about it. When I was a kid, my dad was, real estate was cheaper, but my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And, I didn't go out. We would literally not go out for a month. My mother would just go to the grocery store, buy food, and we would eat it like that. And we would have dinners where we would have spaghetti or beans and cut up hot dogs. We called them wieners and beans, all that kind of stuff. So your lifestyle already right now is way beyond not only what most people are now, but historically what most people have been. So if you're sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, your life is full of richness. Oh yeah. Of having so much information at your fingertips, it's crazy. What's the limiting factor is I'm not saying for you, but in general, is up here. Why do you feel like you're limited? go do things. Don't get distracted. I
Yeah,
get distracted, but you
like
got to go out and do it.
I'm in the process of searching for a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was talking about this with my client today, and she's like, even that is just so like so excessive. Like I'm a single man. The only reason that I feel like I need a 2-bedroom apartment is so I could turn one of the bedrooms into a podcast studio. But like I could probably turn my kitchen table into a podcast studio. Right now, like my bedroom is my podcast studio, so I don't need a second bedroom. It's just more of like a luxurious, extravagant want than it is like an actual
I
necessity.
think kind of the guerrilla marketing aspect of it is that when the podcast reaches enough sponsorship that it's able to afford the difference between your 1-bedroom and your 2-bedroom, that's when you probably go out and get it and make it a studio. But go ahead and like build the income first.
Yeah.
And then it's a moot point because the podcast will pay for the second one. And then you get tax deductions because that's now your office.
Yeah.
Yep. Although I will say that having a home office is not a terrific tax deduction. It's not bad, but it's not very big. So, but the bigger thing is that Brian's right, is that if you're focusing on your purpose and focusing on whether that's the podcast or anything else, and work on monetizing, it's going to grow and grow and grow. Yeah. So you'll be just fine. Plus, what you'll find is, and I already see it, because you and I have been chatting for a few months now, is that your confidence is already higher than it was, which is great.
Yeah. Agreed.
And speaking of which, I'm going to take this time and I'm actually going to deliver our first advertisement. So, wait, let me put this, hold up a sec. Let me put this up on the screen. All right, fellas, it's time that we talk about a pressing issue. We all know that as men, we have the duty of performance. You can't just, you're not good enough the way you are. You need to always be seeking to get better. 1% better every day. We all know that we got a duty of performance, whether it's at the trading desk, on the gridiron, the hardwood court, or inside the illustrious bedroom. There's no description that will do justice to that feeling that you'll get when you blow the back off your lover. So how are you going to do it? With your little limp strand of rope? Do you want to be the safe option in her mind? Do you want her to settle down with you after she's had her fun in the big leagues? I don't think so. So why are you going to battle in the bedroom with groggy privates? The only blue pill we endorse at the Good Faith Podcast is It's Mr. Nasty Time Blue Pills. And yes, we're talking about those little blue pills that make you want to run, Forrest, run. Get the enthusiasm that Jenny has for that gang of Black Panthers and Wall Street stockbrokers, not the tepid tolerance she has for Forrest. Forget about overpriced Hims, Romans, and Blue Chews. It's Mr. Nasty Time as the real deal at an amazing price that won't let you down and can't be beat. And I know what you're probably thinking. What if I take one of these and she cancels on me and I'm all, bricked up all night long? I've tried these. They're a lot more mellow than you'd expect. You could pop 1 or 2 over drinks. It's not going to give away your position, or due to the quick acting effect, just go to the bathroom right before magic time, take 1 or 2 and be fully equipped to perform. Just like all the expensive name brands, Mr. Nasty delivers his products in discreet packaging, but for a fraction of the outrageous cost that the competitors do. Around here at the GFP, we're about leveling up, and why not level up your sex life and check out It's Mr. Nasty Time to get your mojo back. Scan the QR code on the screen or hit the link in the description and guarantee yourself unrivaled pleasure. When her dual mating strategy has her playing picky-choosy between the bad boy and the little nice guy, you know exactly who you want to be. You want to be the bad boy. Call It's Mr. Nasty Time. All right. All right, back to our regular scheduled program. What is your guys? This is the Good Faith Podcast. We talk about faith. What is your guys' spiritual denomination?
I'm a Christian. Okay. I have faith in God, and I grew up Baptist. So I have been in the church for my entire life. My dad's side of the family is Catholic and mom's side was Baptist. So it was an interesting change between going from one church to another.
Is it? And I've like I've been a little bit about the South. Is like I feel like down under the Bible Belt, it is really like pronounced like how much faith like is present in people.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia in particular is very. We go to church on Sunday or we watch church online. I mean, it's a pretty regular occurrence, including people that you date. I mean, it's pretty common to date somebody that you would go and hang out with throughout the week, and then um, going to church or praying at dinner is a pretty common occurrence.
And Steve,
Honestly, my background is Presbyterian. I go to a church called the Peachtree Presbyterian Church here in Atlanta, now called the Peachtree Church. I've taught Sunday school there. My grandfather founded the Presbyterian Church in Aberdeen, Washington. So I've been doing that for a long time. In Canada, we would go, they didn't have Presbyterian, they combined it because of the sparse population. So we did something called the United Church of Canada. Most of my family has drifted away from religion. I have to a certain extent, not that much, but I still believe, and I know most of the Bible stories, that type of thing. So, and I would slightly disagree with Bryan in one sense, and it's just a minor thing. The amount of religion here in the South is definitely more than other places. They're definitely more than the coasts, but there's still, I would say that it's not as intense as it used to be, and it's just think of it more like it's the way general American society was maybe 40 or 50 years ago, where some people would go, some wouldn't. It just depends, right? Some people go every Wednesday and Sunday. Some people go Christmas and Easter, and so it's just a mix. Church attendance has gone down a bunch. The one thing that I have noticed here is that mainline churches are struggling, which is what I go to, are struggling with attendance because they've become a little too liberal for people. So either if you are not a firm believer in, or you don't like a lot of the doctrines, you tend to drift away and don't do anything. And the people that are really into it are looking for a more intense spiritual experience, which is why a lot of the evangelical churches have done well. And so it's just kind of almost like a bifurcation that's been happening. So I don't, I go to church. I haven't been going lately just because I just got divorced, and so it's been a little bit awkward. But I definitely believe. So.
And now let's talk about an uncomfortable topic. To some, to me, I could talk about this all day long. Is isn't Georgia one of the states that's very strict against abortion?
I don't know
I
the.
think so. Yeah, I think they have a like a 8 week something or 7 week something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
but
So if you,
that just came in a few years ago.
yeah, so if you don't make the decision within 2 months, like you are legally obligated to keep the pregnancy.
I don't
Well, I
think
think
it's that.
it's
Go ahead,
states.
Brian. I'm sorry.
It's states' rights, right? So, I
Yeah.
mean, if you choose to get an abortion and you can't do it, after a certain time in Georgia, then I think most people would just go to another state and have it done.
Yeah.
Think that's a, I don't think that's a limiting. I mean, I, I personally think that pro-choice and a woman's rights is important. I don't know that I would vote for that route if I got some. I have a vasectomy, so I don't have this problem. However, I definitely think that you know, babies are precious, and I have one, and he's been the best thing that I've ever made. I mean, hands down, the joy of being a father is life changing, and up all night sometimes, and cleaning up after sick children is some of the pain points. But honestly, the rewards are just phenomenal. So, where I don't personally think that I would vote for abortion. Um, it's up to, I think it's mostly up to a woman's rights. She's the one who has to carry it and birth it, and there's lots of cases where it's single moms. So um, that is a fiery topic you brought up there, sir.
Yeah.
Steve, what's your opinion?
On abortion? My opinion on abortion is that it's complicated, and I don't like thinking about it very much. However, if you really ask me, um, I believe that at some level you have to have a culture of life. In the broad culture, we are moving away from that, not towards that, which makes it difficult. And you can't. You could legislate. I'm not a big fan of abortion. Um, but I'm one of those things where I feel uncomfortable. Like I would feel comfortable saying, if you're later on in the process, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, 18, whatever the number is, to say, no, you can't do it because the baby's been developed. Earlier on, I'm a little more flexible about, although I do believe that life starts early. The problem is that you have to create a level of, what's the best way to put this? You have to create a level where the girl that gets pregnant feels welcome and all that type of stuff, and make her want to, because the reality is that if a woman doesn't want to have a kid, I mean, there's edge exceptions, but in general, if a woman doesn't want a kid, she's going to be able to take care of it, which, using even drugs now too, so it's not difficult. But what I would like to see more of, because I love kids and I wish I'd had more, but the problem is that in a lot of different ways, and I think it's primarily driven by social media, um, and some of the technologies that are out there now. But it's just not a, when I grew up, you know, kids, having kids was expected, right? So my parents had four. Um, my uh, my mother's my mother's parents were 11th of 11 and third of seven. So they had a lot of kids. This was out. One was in North Dakota, one was in Washington State. And on my dad's side, not quite as many, but still, my dad's parents had four kids. My parents had four kids. So, but that's because the culture at the time was very much accepting and encouraging, and make it, it was something that was really, really nurtured by the culture. Now it's not. There's such an emphasis on, excuse me, on lifestyle, where there's, when I was a kid, did not have that much money, but it was very easy to have children. Now people think that children are, I think there's been a little bit of a propaganda campaign to say children are very expensive,
Hmm.
and they can be, but they don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend two or three or $500,000 per kid. You don't have to. There's a tremendously large number of ways to be able to mitigate that. But a lot of people just don't want to give up the lifestyle that they have. They want to be able to eat out several times a week. They want to be able to, you know, live in a really expensive neighborhood. They want to be able to travel some. We never, except for going to visit relatives, we would never, I was never on an airplane until I was 16 years old, except for going
Wow.
to see relatives.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because my grandma actually used to live in Atlanta for a short period of time, and before Atlanta, she was in Fort Lauderdale or Fort Myers, one of the forts in Florida, and I remember that was the only time I got on an airplane when I was like young, was to go to Florida. I went once to visit my grandma, maybe a couple times, and I remember it was during the OJ trial. I remember we were watching the OJ verdict on TV while we were down there, and making fresh squeezed orange juice and stuff like that. But um, yeah, but I definitely do think there's this like anti-natalist like propaganda campaign, yeah, to like convince people that kids are expensive and kids get in the way of your lifestyle and stuff like that. And at the same time, like founding a company and investing in tech startups and building, your career trajectory and climbing the corporate ladder and accomplishing all these things, it's important. But if you really want to like trivialize it, I kind of think that it's all just a big distraction from like our primary purpose as human beings, which is to perpetuate and to like propagate our species, you know, to find a person who you can, you know, love permanently and to have, you know, children with them, so the species can go on after you, you know, like everything else is
Exactly.
kind of just secondary, you know.
Yeah.
Can I talk about that for a sec? So
Yeah.
my dad, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. My dad started out in a left home at 16, skipped 2 grades, went to college, didn't finish college, ended up in northern Quebec at an iron mine and worked there. By the time he was 22 years old, he had 400 plus guys working for him.
Wow.
Um, and he ended up running a very large company, an international company, that was worth about $1 billion. He had several thousand employees under him, and he had a very successful career. And he also had 4 kids, and he retired in his early 60s, and was living in Western Canada, had a great time, you know. But what the thing is that near the end of his life, and he passed away a couple years ago, you know, he wasn't thinking. Well, here's what he thought. He thought, oh my gosh, I got to have all these great experiences in terms of travel, which he traveled all over the world. Um, he but there were the things that he loved the most were very simple things. He loved to fish, and there was a lot of fishing in Quebec, where he would go, and sometimes on the West Coast. And he just fished in other places, but he just loved it. He did that every year, and he loved hanging out, and he loved his family, and he loved doing all that kind of stuff. And so the thing that gave him the purpose in life wasn't the fact that he got to be a super duper executive. He got to fly first class. I mean, those were kind of, you know, nice, but they weren't great. But and they weren't like the things when he was thinking about the memories that he had of his life. That wasn't it. What it was the hobbies that he really enjoyed, and the times that he spent with his family. It was great. And the thing is that a lot of people are spending so much time focused on career.
Yep.
Yes.
Who's going to remember that? They're not, you know, if you're a 30-year-old and you're focused on your career and you're not focused on having a family, what's going to happen when you're 70 years old? You're going to end up having, you know,
Correct.
a dog and 2 cats, and you're going to have a slightly larger
No.
401k.
Buy a dog
Yeah, I
and
think
die
that the
alone.
biggest issue is too, as we talk about like the population collapsing that's been going around in the last couple of years. I think it's just that. I mean, you've got people who focus on their career until their prime fertile years are starting to expire, and then they're wanting to crank out 1 or 2. And I think it's just a different society that we have right now. I think the shift is actually kind of moving back towards, you know, we've set up a system now where, especially, I don't know how it is in other countries, but here in America, we have this situation where it almost takes 2 incomes to pay for the finer things that we've become accustomed to. So the house in Buckhead, it used to be able to take that a man could go to work and he could provide for himself, his wife, and a few children, and make the house payment, still have the boat, still have the lifestyle, still be able to take his family out. And I think right now we've almost, you know, figured out some kind of way where, you know, it requires 2 incomes, or somebody has to have 2 jobs and doesn't get to enjoy, you know, life with the same outcome of, you know, by the time you're able to settle down and have enough of a nest egg to be able to have children, the fertile years are all but spent. And I think that's, you know, the shift, I think, is moving back towards, well, if we can produce more or figure out how to live less and a lesser means, then we can go back to a kind of 1 income scenario where, you know, the great feminine would love to be doing stuff, shopping and taking care of kids. And, you know, I see a huge trend now with the younger generation, you know, in the dating scene, I feel like, where it's back to like, well, I can cook this and I can do this. And it's less, I'm finding it less and less like I've got, you know, multiple master's degree and I spent my entire fertile years in college and now I'm, you know, $500,000 in debt and I'll be paying on that for the rest of the life. I think people are waking up that that's, you know, that doesn't bring joy. That gives you a piece of paper. And I think, honestly, I think where it's going to head to is with artificial intelligence taking some of the mundane tasks that people don't like doing. As that grows more and more, I think you're going to find that we are going to be a more creative, like, let's film our travels and come up with content and utilize AI to not only help us copyright, but to also be able to give us script ideas. As that sort of becomes more of the norm in this new and upcoming generation, I think you'll have a lot bigger families will start being produced because of this kind of like the new rich. It's kind of like the Tim Ferriss book. What is that? The 4-Hour Work Week. I think that's going to kind of really come into play in this next generation where people realize, dude, we can be content creators. We can like social interaction is going to be the new currency as AI takes over all these jobs. It's kind of like what was the old thing with the tractor? Like it used to take 80 to 90% of the population to farm and do agriculture, which is why we have summer breaks. It used to take that amount to create the food for all of us. And then the tractor came and everybody was like, oh, the tractor's going to take our jobs. Well, yeah, it's going to take the jobs that people used to do, which was agriculture. But then once the tractor was there, now look at us. We're all lawyers and be able to advance in our careers. And we're doctors and we're IT specialists and we're podcasters. We have the ability to not spend all day doing these mundane tasks. And I feel like that's where AI is going to kind of bring us back up into socializing, which will increase the amount of social interaction between the male and the female, and then that will, I think the population collapse is going to be on the opposite side of the pendulum soon, and that's how I kind of foresee us moving towards.
So
I disagree.
Oh, you disagree? Okay, well, here, I'll let you retort, and then I'll jump in.
So first off, a lot of what Bryan is describing is an Amerocentric view of the world. If you look at the whole world, so you look at other countries, include U.S. is a part of it, but a lot of what he's describing is may or may not fit with the U.S., but a lot of the working less has already happened in a lot of places. So a lot of Western Europeans, and what the problem is when you do that, the country's living standards drop. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the fertility rate goes up. I think the fertility rate is a function of women's decisions and technology. So first off, birth control is much more prevalent now. And so, back before the pill was invented, abortion was rare too. So if a girl got pregnant, she would just have to have the kid. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just, that's the way it was. But the way technology is developed in all countries, and it's especially acute in a place like Korea, South Korea, where the birth rate, to keep a population stable, the birth rate has to be about 2.1 babies per woman. And we've dipped below that in most cases. We're kind of in the 1.5 to 1.7 range. I can't remember the exact numbers. In Korea, it's like 0.7. So they think that 100 people now will have, like, if you do the math, it ends up with like five people in 100 years will be out of the 100. So the complete population collapse. And by the way, that's happening in China too, because they had limited the number of kids being had.
Yeah.
So the question is why? And I don't think the reason is because of economics per se. Because if it was, the GDP per person right now in the United States is $83,000. Okay. In Canada, it's about $63,000. When I was growing up, it was $10,000. So we are 8 times wealthier than we were when I was a kid, right? So theoretically, there should be plenty of money to be able to do that. The issue is not money. The issue is a desire, primarily for women. They don't want to have large families, and they want to have a lifestyle because they would rather have nicer things and not have to have as many babies. And the reality is that the woman decides how many kids they're going to have because she's got to put up with pregnancy for that amount of time. And I think
I think there's some type of aspect in there that where the previous generation $10,000 would also be able to afford a house and the car and trips.
No.
And now the price of the dollar has dipped in such a way that the price of the house is now $500,000 to $80,000, whereas before it might have been a $40,000 house to $10,000. So I think that it's not just that the per capita has gone up, but it's also that the products and the services and the housing and the supply chain and all of the economics of that are now exponentially higher than they were. For instance, my grandmother told me, and she's no longer with us, but she told me their first car cost $1,200 brand off of the lot.
Wow.
You can't even get a Tesla probably for what, 30? I mean 28, 30, 40, like that's a huge amount of difference. And to say that, go ahead.
So so remember, I studied economics in college, right? The numbers that I'm talking about are not nominal numbers. They're real difference. So I'm not saying that the difference is inflation. I'm saying the difference, if you include inflation, would be even higher than that. I'm saying after you take inflation into account, we're still 6 to 8 times as wealthy as we were 40 and 50 years ago. Okay.
So I think
what he's making a very good point about cars, right? And there's a lot of reason why that's the case. And if you look at every individual item of the basket, you can find things that are more expensive, but there's also a ton of things that are less expensive. Food is way less expensive than it used to be. Part of the reason why we're fat is that food is it used to be somewhere between a third and a half of your time that you would spend would be earning money to pay for the food that you would eat. Now we're less than 10% and we're getting it delivered all the time. So
yeah.
Are there things that are more expensive? Yes. Education, healthcare, cars, and that type of thing. There's things and real estate in very, very select markets. But there's lots of places that have very inexpensive real estate, and there's lots of places where you can shop around and make it work. It's not that difficult. You can't live. It comes down to a lifestyle choice. If you want to have the top lifestyle, yes, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
But that's no different.
I think it's a multitude of factors. Like one is real estate and shelter. Like we're seeing this shift where a house is like an actual luxury item. It used to be every American family was like basically entitled to a house. Now I think the first time home ownership age is like in the 50s or something like that. Like people are waiting until their 50s to buy their first house, because these gigantic $1 trillion institutions like BlackRock and State Street are going in and buying up all the single family real estate, and they're jacking up the price of houses. The average, I know in my area, like the average house is probably gonna be costing anywhere from like $600,000 to $800,000. There's a couple lots. No, not a single nail, not a single 2x4 in the lot. There are $1 million lots in my area, and so just having a shelter is becoming very difficult to obtain. And yeah, could you move to Omaha or
neighborhoods?
Yeah. Like could you move to Omaha? Could you move to Wichita? Could you move to like Lexington or Louisville? Sure, that might be the right route, and maybe even like parts of Atlanta. Although I think Atlanta's like a pretty well-to-do city, right? Like
in the city it is, but if you go out in the burbs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up when I was really young, my mom was from a small town. I went back there. She grew up in Aberdeen, Washington. You could get a house there for a decent price. It's not the best living, but it's decent. Where then I lived in a small town in northern Quebec. Also, by the way, the name of the town is called Sept-Îles or Seven Islands, Septiles. And then we lived in the burbs of Montreal. So, it's every time we got a slightly nicer place, but you can do it. It's just the problem is that people are used to other aspects of their lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So how much money do you spend on your cell phone? I'm not saying it's not valuable. Cell phone, internet, and all your monthly entertainment things, right?
I'm actually like I'm like pretty low on the like expenses. Like I think my internet and cable is I spend $45 a month on internet, and then my cell phone's another 45 or 50 a
Yeah.
month. You know, and
But I don't. To give you an idea, I don't have cable.
Yeah, I don't have cable either. I bum my streaming service from a friend. You know, like I take his password. You know, but
I don't have a streaming service. I actually have Amazon Prime, but I use that for other things. I guess my point is that some of what Brian is saying is true, is in that there's elements of life today that are difficult. Part of the reason why cars are more expensive is that you're getting a lot more car for your money. Um, a car that she could get for $1,200, if she got 20 or 30,000 miles out of it, that was great. 40,000 was considered fantastic. My car, I bought it for 6 or 7 years ago for $10,000, and I bought it at, it had 122,000 miles on it. I just went over. I'm at 202,000 right now. So
yeah,
I mean,
my car, I've always been the kind of guy that, you know, like saw a neighbor who was like selling his car. I've always bought my cars in cash with the cash that I had saved and I could afford. I've never had a car payment in my entire life. My current car is a 2013 Ford Fiesta that I paid $4,000 for, and it still hasn't even gotten to like 90,000 miles. You know, so like if I treat it right, I might still I probably could have another 10 years on my car. You know.
yeah.
I think the point that I'm trying to make, though, is by the time you pay for a couple cell phones, the internet, insurance, the gas, the water, the electricity, even rent, if you don't even own your house, and you're trying to, get enough income to think about a child, and then you've got to think it's going to take two people to produce enough income to do that, then I think the issue is that the point that I was trying to make is that having a single income on a entry level college degree right now is not going to get you a house anywhere in a vicinity that's also going to provide you a job that is going to produce enough to pay for all of the expenditures of a family, where it absolutely used to. And so the issue is, in my opinion, is that by the time you've gotten financially secure, climbed up the ladder, gotten enough to be able to have a kid, then you're no longer in your best years of, for a female, I'm going to just say, we're going to make a number even if I'm wrong, but it's going to be like mid-20s. Mid-20s is that because we didn't have Xander until Kristen was in her 30s, and that was considered a high-risk pregnancy. So, by the time that we were both able to financially comfortably afford a child, it was already that we couldn't have six. No chance of having eight. And I think that's really what I'm getting at is that, the price of living in general, when you consider all aspects of it, is substantially higher price per capita. Steve, if you want to chime in on the economics of it, that's fine, and I will totally, value that. But clean up what I'm saying is roughly the amount that people are making hasn't kept up with the $500,000 house in a decent neighborhood. I'm not even talking about the 1.5 million down in Buckhead. I was just in New York as an example in May, and the shack that had bars across it was like 1.2 million.
Yeah.
I don't see somebody being able to go out and even work at an entry level position in any firm where they're going to start cranking out enough income to qualify, much less for like a couple bedroom that was in like the 3 to 4 million. Or, I mean, I saw some that were like 3-bedroom with a couple baths that were in like the 6 million and above. So
Holy crap.
And it was ridiculous. It was crazy.
This whole conversation is centered just around the dollars, and like maybe we could take this conversation in another area, because there's another trend that's happening, and that is with women's dating preferences, and I think the average American woman deems about 80% of American men as unattractive. So you know, like the days of you just being like an average Joe and being entitled the privilege of procreating are done. You know, like if you want the
Now
if you
that's exactly what I was talking about, which is that these are lifestyle choices.
yeah. So
And
yeah,
that's why I'm pessimistic about improving things, because what Brian was articulating very well is the mindset. So it used to be when my parents were doing, they didn't sit there and say, I have to have enough money before I start having kids. And certainly before that, they couldn't do that because they didn't, they couldn't stop it, right? Because they didn't have birth control.
Yeah.
But, rhythm method. But the point is that now the mindset is I have to have enough money just in case, and that delays things. And then I have to have a certain standard of living because that's what I want, and that also delays things. And then you just have a lot of people that just don't want to have kids, and because they can control it, they're not going to have them. And so what ends up happening is that but those phenomenon are not American. They apply to Canada, they apply to Korea, they apply all over the place. It's the same thing in China. And so because of that, that's why I'm a little pessimistic about the growth rate or the birth rate. It's going to be very difficult.
I think putting both of
hard problem to have.
Putting both of y'all's opinions together too, and talking about something we previously talked about, that is why younger women are finding older men more attractive, because the older men have become established. It is more likely that an older man, especially if they're fit, attractive, they've got some game, they have options, those are more desirable too, because now you're looking at a dating pool, especially with the swipe right apps that are out there now. You have an ocean of men who potentially have 80% of them are not worth your time. And there's a 20% of them that have the financial resources and the knowledge and the motivation and the drive and the attractiveness level, that's where the younger and frankly even middle-aged and older women are looking more in that dating pool of the older gentlemen, because they have their shit together, for lack of a better term. They have the resources, the career, they may already be thinking about retirement. They may have enough where if you wanted to have a few kids with him, he can support them, he can secure them and keep them safe, and also have the means to have the best possible life as far as adventures go, and being able to feed them properly and bring them to the best education. That's the kind of more attractive appeal, I think, to the older men in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, guys like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino are still fucking and still, spreading their seed at 80, and I kind of like tisk them. Like I don't think it's right to be like an 80-year-old father, because let's say you live to 100, which you'd be very blessed to live to 100. Your son's like a 20-year-old, and they're already burying their father. Like I think that's unfortunate. And also, like, I don't know, I think you would want to be like throwing the football around with your son, or like pinning his tie on him for like senior prom, and like you're basically like throwing all that out the window by having a child at 80. But what that does, because like speaking to your point, like these are like high status, high net worth men, and what they're doing is they're taking a woman off the dating market, some young 25-year-old girl who could otherwise like have like a real strong lifelong connection with a man, and they could have multiple children. They're just like sticking his like old seed in her, and I don't think it's good.
I think Steve said it right. Honestly, it's what women are choosing. It's Steve, if you want to elaborate on that, I think you were pin the tail on the donkey with that. I mean, it's really the woman's choice at this point.
Well, speaking as a guy that has old seed,
but you're not seeking to spread it at this point, are you? Like, are you? are you dating to impregnate at this point, or are you dating like to make like a
Go ahead,
connection with a
Steve.
woman?
I don't believe in having sex with girls. I'm a
Yeah.
pure guy. I never do
Yeah.
that. No,
Uh,
I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not seeking it. So,
Yeah.
but I will say one thing is that I think that I don't. First off, I think there's going to be tremendous advances in healthcare to the point where a lot of what you're talking about in terms of how we age is going to change a lot.
hmm.
Uh, the advent of the GLP-1 drugs is amazing in terms of weight loss. The ubiquitousness, or at least the understanding of how important weight training is, and how important getting your proper macros, specifically protein, it has become much more prevalent over the last 5 to 10 years. And so, what's going to happen, I believe, is that you're going to see a drop in the obesity rate and an increase in people being fit. The second thing is that there are drugs in the pipeline right now where you can take the pill and lose fat and gain muscle. Is that crazy? So you have to do any work and you could gain muscle. And there are other drugs in the pipeline that are collagen injectors that will make you look young again. So there are speculations right now that 10 to 15 years from now, people will look back at old pictures and go, why are there old people? Because nobody will look that way.
Hmm. And
So which
speaking
is
of
like mind blowing when you think about it. I just got to hang on for another few years.
speaking of
You got this, Steve.
pharmaceutical advancements and like have either of you guys been have your testosterone and estrogen levels checked and sought like a testosterone clinic?
I've gone to the clinic, but I'm not taking it.
Okay.
The last time I checked, my T level was just over 400. I've got some other health issues that I have to manage, so I have not done it yet. I'm still considering it. I have to speak with my doctor about it, but I'm not opposed to it. But what I'm trying to do, at least for me, is improve my T in a more natural sense. So getting better sleep and lifting and eating better food, that type of thing. But yeah, I've been to the clinic and I've checked it out. So, by the way, I'm a huge advocate for it. I used to be against all that stuff, but now I'm like, if you want to improve yourself, if you want to, get your teeth fixed, if you want to get a lip injection, if you want to get a boob job, if you want to do TRT or hormone replacement therapy for women, all that stuff I think is great. As long as it's an informed decision. I think that those are things that are fantastic.
I'm with Steve
And
on this one.
Brian?
Yeah, I haven't had mine checked. I did notice after 40 that I had less energy and it was easier to gain weight. And part of my solution without getting it checked is actually um, to start paying attention to my macros, losing pounds, lifting, going to the gym regularly. That does dramatic things for mental health and physical health, and also um, a day or two ago was my 4 year sobriety anniversary, and stopping drinking alcohol. Thank you. Stopping drinking alcohol was a tremendous effect on mental health, mood. You know, no longer had bags under my eyes, blotchy skin, self-induced flus multiple times a week. I think that's a tremendous thing. I think that whole new trend, especially post COVID, has been you can almost go to any restaurant now and get non-alcoholic beer, mocktails, prosecco that's alcohol free. I mean, you've got just so many options now as people are sort of trending towards, um, putting down alcohol and realizing the detriment that causes to our hormone levels, serotonin, mental health, like all the negative effects that drinking on a regular basis has. I think that's becoming more popular mainstream now too. So I think those couple things are going to additionally help testosterone levels and estrogen levels and the longevity of being able to keep fertile eggs, those types of things.
Yeah, Chris, I can speak for myself. About 3 or 4 years ago, I'd always been pretty active. Like I played rugby in high school and college and in graduate school. And I was pretty active. I coached my kids growing up, but I gained a bunch of weight. I got married. I was probably 225, and I went up to about, my best guess is that I wasn't weighing myself. My best guess I got up to about 275, And now through a combination of diet and exercise, I've been lifting a ton, and I am stronger, at least in my upper body. I'm stronger than I've ever been. Um, and I weigh 225 again, or 224 or something like that.
Get it, bro.
So, but it's massively benefit. I've noticed it. First off, girls like it a lot. Girls are grabbing my arms some, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd love to touch it.
They do. I mean, I had, I had no idea. But also the impact on my, confidence and just feeling like I'm, I've got my stuff together. It's been great. So to the extent that you can, I mean, it sounds simple, but there's almost no, with very, very few exceptions, no matter what disease you've got or what drugs you're taking, you would be actually the improvement of your physical fitness is going to have a bigger impact on whatever the disease is than the drugs that you're taking. That doesn't mean you shouldn't take the drugs, but exercise has that much of a benefit across the board.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I forget who has this quote, but they said if the health benefits of exercise could be packed into a pill, it'd be the single most prescribed drug on the market. And
exactly.
And Bryan, I didn't know that you were also sober as well. Are you Cali sober, or are you like 100% clean and sober?
Caffeine and nicotine only.
Oh, my man.
Yeah.
And what's your birthday?
It was the 21st.
21st
4 years ago.
Of what?
Of August.
Oh, okay. And do you go to any type of like fellowship or meeting, or you just like cut it out cold turkey?
For the first 9 months, I went to AA online. I started going to AA meetings in person, and I don't want to bash on that at all. For me, it was triggering to see other people be such struggle bunnies in there, and I kind of like, maybe it was my ego, maybe it was, apathy that was there. I'm not sure, but, seeing other people just sort of falling apart on the regular basis was not helping me.
Mm-hmm.
I found online Zoom meetings to be incredibly helpful. One of my friends has sent me a whole list of them, and I found a group actually out of California. It was 9 a.m. here Eastern. So there it was like bright and early business professionals. And so it was a really like a group that I clicked with, that I actually could relate to, as far as I got hungover and didn't, make a sale, or didn't do a deal, or, I made some excuse. And so that really related to me doing online. That lasted about 9 months, though. At the 9-month point, I was just like, you know what? I'm 100% done. Like, no questions about it. Being hungover, having no hangovers after having an entire lifestyle of hangovers was, golden. I mean, it was the difference between night and day. I started posting online on Facebook and social media about my journey, and then at some point in time, we talk about the tipping point. There was some tipping point where other friends were starting to contact me and be like, how did you do it? What are you doing? How do you handle it? And I would start mentoring people in sobriety. And now I've got about a dozen people who reach out to me on the regular basis and, tell me their struggles and, their success and pain points of sobriety, and, the nightmares or the dreams that would come of, getting drunk in your dreams is a big thing that I struggled with for about the first 6 months. So I sort of can relate to them in so many aspects. So, just sort of pinpoint your question. For a while, for the first 9 months, I did do online AA meetings, but then there was a certain point where I had enough momentum going that I knew that I wasn't going to fall off the wagon.
Well, that's
and again,
awesome.
I can't talk enough about non-alcoholic 0% Heineken is in my fridge right now. And as long as I have non-alcoholic beer and alcohol-free rum and tequila around me, pretty constantly, like whenever the itch hits, which is usually, there are triggers that people have with alcoholism, like going through Atlanta traffic, was guaranteed that I get done with an hour and 15 minutes to go 20 miles in Atlanta with, people cutting me off, that it was like, where is the margarita? And so being able to have like non-alcoholic beer, some people may like it, some people not. It's no longer O'Doul's. It's Peroni, Heineken, Coronas. I mean, you can get most of your major brands that you're used to drinking already. And being able to go to bars and still socialize, and I have not, that I can remember, I've not been to a place that couldn't at least make me a mocktail, but most of them will have. Heineken Zero is super popular, at least it is here in Georgia and the Southeast. Being able to just go and actually still socialize and hang out in an environment that, for alcoholics was comfortable, going to Cheers and having everybody say, Norm, but then everybody, fully supports you, and people would buy, people would bring around beers and be like, Bryan, non-alcoholic. And I was like, hell yeah. So having that social aspect was still there, but with the non-alcoholic beer. And I found that, drinking a 6-pack, even if it was a 6-pack of Heineken Zeros, I would, there was zero chance that I would go get a baggie of some type and continue that party. Because, it was usually a few Jamesons and a couple pitchers in. Who knows what Bryan would get into? It was definitely, all the fun.
I know what you would get into.
No comment.
So I'm actually going to take a quick break, and then we'll get back into this. Speaking of getting into things, guys, you should get into speaking of getting into a bag, get into a bag of Holler Boys jerkies. So, wait, let me pull up my script here. So, I don't think it's any mystery that I'm taking my physique seriously. I look all right. I look pretty freaking good. I'm buckling down. I'm taking it more seriously than I ever have before. I cut out soda. These are 0 sugar Celsiuses. Getting into meal prepping, boiled chicken and rice, working on muscles in my body that, I didn't even know I had before. Doing incline treadmill and, like prioritizing my cardiovascular health over muscle mass and gains. I used to just eat whatever I craved and try to outwork a poor diet. It was all to no avail, though. There are still times when I have to force myself to eat, but I need no coercion to munch on some Holler Boys jerky. You can't just stuff empty calories down your big fat fucking blowholes. Here's the solution. Holler Boys beef jerky. They pack 10 grams of lean protein into a fantastic package, and the flavors are to die for. Peach bourbon, honey habanero, southern barbecue, Chesapeake, Fuego, or the tried and true original. My favorites are the peach and the habanero, but I got some Fuego on deck. It's really spicy, so if you have it, prepare for the heat. What's even better about Holler Boys is they're nice and local in tax-friendly Middletown, Delaware. They're founded by a father-son duo, and they just started tinkering with their smoker out in the backyard, and through trial and failure have come to present some of the boldest and most memorable flavors that I can recall. Forget Slim Jim or Jack Links or Deets Nuts. Holler Boys snacks pack a great nutritional value in a filling serving size for an affordable price to stretch your dollar with flavor for days that'll make you holler. Their mission statement rings true to the Good Faith podcast that life may throw you around, but you can never give up. How true. Scan the QR code on the screen and find their link in the description to tap into the best beef jerky on the market. HollerBoysJerky.com. That's holler with an A. Holler Boys Jerky, the only good jerk. And I'm actually going...
Let's call bullshit. The best way to go through life is hookers and blow, right?
Oh, yeah. So, I actually...
Especially if you combine those two.
Holler Boys Jerky, guys. So you guys are from Magic City, and if you are comfortable sharing, what's the last time that you went to an exotic dance parlor?
In Atlanta or in general?
In general.
I haven't been to we had a lunch there about 3 or 4 months ago here in Atlanta, and before that I hadn't been in 20 years. I've been to a couple in Vegas because I was out there and a bunch of the guys I was there with, so for me it was probably been a week. but that was in Vegas.
And in Atlanta, do they take everything off?
Yep.
Well, to quote the wise Juicy J, he says, what does he say? He says, rich brothers spending, broke brothers looking, and it ain't a strip club if they ain't showing pussy.
For whatever reason, I don't find strip clubs to be that compelling. And I know it sounds weird because I like girls like most guys do, right? But I always just go in there feeling like they have like these automatic vacuum cleaners that suck money out of your wallet.
Yeah,
It's true.
It feels so. I'm overwhelmed by the transactional nature of it.
yeah,
I don't like it.
yeah.
So I mean, I'll go if other guys are going, but I don't go that much.
I really like a girl.
I'd rather go flirt with. I'd rather go to a restaurant or a bar and just flirt with girls and meet new people.
Yeah. I really have like an aversion to a stripper that like is overt with her transactional nature of trying to like extract my money. Like I like there to be like a subtle finesse to it and not her just, like gimme, you know?
So you're basically saying you want her to seduce you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like like I'll give you this money. I'm not a cheapskate, but like
You know what? Actually, it's a very interesting concept there. You're basically saying you want to be seduced. And it's interesting because I was chatting with a girl who basically told me the same thing. That when she's on a date, she's not slutty at all, but her philosophy is she wants this to be the last first date she ever goes on, right? She's effectively, if you go on a date with a girl and she gets all dressed up and and you meet her and all that kind of stuff, she wants you to win, right? She doesn't want you to be a jerk. She wants to fall in love with you. She wants to be super attracted to you. She wants you to win. And so effectively, just like you're saying, she wants you to seduce her. Doesn't mean you have to sleep with her on the first date.
She wants my dick in or around her mouth.
What's that?
It's Jonah Hill from Superbad saying she wants to fuck me. She wants my dick in and around her mouth.
She wants to fuck
well,
me.
I mean, yes, that's a nice part of it too.
In or around her mouth.
But the gist of it is that as much as you want to impress and get her to like you, she wants to like you, right? And you want to like her. You don't want her to be a skank. You don't want her to be boring. Sadly, a lot of girls are very boring. But you want her to be delightful and feminine and fun and all that kind of stuff. And she wants you to be fun and cocky and humorous and playful and masculine and strong and attractive, all those kind of things. I mean, you don't go on a date hoping it doesn't work out, right?
Bruce? Yeah, so for me, I recently went with some people after a business meeting to a strip club, but I'm a little bit with Steve there. It's not really appealing. It's just sort of flashy, overstimulus. It's entertaining for a little bit, but yeah, it seems to be a money sucker, a vacuum directly to your wallet. Yeah. I just don't see the value. I don't get I understand why people go, but for me, I would just rather spend $100 on something to promote my business or further my career or something that I need. I mean, yeah, there's not a value that I see going to there as far as even if I got a couple girls' Instagrams, they're not going to reply. You're not going to like convince them to.
If you're attractive, they will.
I've got a couple. I got one in there, but it's not. I don't know.
Here's the thing.
I'm with Steve. I'm with Steve. Going out to a club or a bar in Atlanta or even a restaurant and flirting with people and the thrill of the chase where they're not necessarily there to suck your money out and then come and show you attention for 2 seconds and leave. It's much more appealing.
So, yeah, like Orion Teraband says that it is a man's primary purpose to I forget his exact words, but it's a man's primary purpose to become as attractive as he can be to women in order to seduce them and attract them into his network.
Sure.
So, do you guys have any?
All women want. Women want you to level up. There's nothing.
Yeah.
By the way, guys in your life should want you to level up too. Chris,
Yeah.
I want you to level up. I want you to be fitter than you were in 6 months from now. I'd like you to be fitter. I want you to be more confident. I want you to have more success in your podcast. I want you to be more of a winner than you already are.
Yeah, like that's why like a big component of this podcast is like men's self-improvement. So like I'm always trying to lead by example, me be like dressed very like professionally.
I dressed up for you.
Yeah, like everyone on this call looks like $1 million, like I want.
Well, Brian, I don't want Brian to win. I think he's a dick. So I don't want him to win.
Too bad. I'm gonna win either way, bro. I'm gonna win. That's what I do.
I'm kidding. But but there's a lot of, here's the funny thing, and this is a deep philosophical question. So there's a lot of people in the world, and I'm not like this at all. And so for me, it was very difficult for me to internalize, where they have this almost winner lose mentality. It's either you win or you lose, right? And so if somebody else is doing well, that reflects poorly on me, right?
Yeah.
And so what they have, and they have this kind of seething resentment. A lot of times you can tell the more they drink, the more mean they get, or the more they make comments like that. Typically what that means is that they're suppressing that. But a lot of people don't want you to succeed. They have a failure mentality. They think if somebody else succeeds, then that's screwing them, right? It's all the people. It's like the people are saying, "Oh, we have all these billionaires," right?
Yep.
Well, the billionaires aren't stealing money. They're providing services that people want and pay for, right?
Yeah.
So the jobs are secondary. I'm just talking about you. In one of the things that's most moral about business is that it's voluntary. In 99% of the cases, right? You don't have to go to a particular store. You don't have to buy something. When you go, you pull money out of your wallet or you pull out your credit card and you voluntarily say, I want the good or service, and that person will give it to you. Government is more coercive, but business is not. And so if you have who's the biggest billionaire in the world?
Jeff Bezos is one of them. Elon Musk.
Incorrect.
It's
incorrect.
It's actually. So wait, Keith brought this up like a few episodes ago. Is it like Rothschild? Is he
wrong?
Is it the owner of Hennessy Moet?
Wrong.
Do they live in Dubai?
One of them does. The biggest billionaire in the world, or the most richest guy in the world, is Vladimir Putin. One of them is also Xi Jinping, and the other guy are the heads of the Saudi Arabia. No. The guy that runs like MBS, the guy that runs Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Because
those people come from effectively corrupt institutions, and they're siphoning money off. Plus, they run a big country, right? And so, the reason why communism and tyranny don't work, although it is arguably the natural way that the world was organized, is because they take money involuntarily, right? Either whether it's through taxation or corruption or whatever. In the U.S., we have a level of corruption that is higher than I'd like, but it's still not bad. Canada's a little bit better, but anyway. But the point is that because such a large part of our economy is private sector inherently has a level of you have to choose, and because the companies have to compete with each other. So if you're an Elon Musk or a Jeff Bezos, what they've done is they've created goods and services that people voluntarily buy, right? If you want to buy a Starlink, or if you want to buy a Tesla, or if you want to buy the services from the Boring Company, or you want to put your stuff on the rocket ship, or whatever the case may be. Elon Musk did PayPal before that, right? Twitter. You voluntarily use those things. You don't have to, right? And that's the moral grandeur of the free market. And so I always get annoyed. But the thing is that there are a lot of people out there that think that they stole it and they didn't. And the people that are like that from a mindset perspective, they think that those are the people you do not want in your life. If they are family members, you can be super polite to them, but you don't listen to what they have to say. You can be very polite and talk about whatever, but don't worry about it. But surround yourself with guys that want you to succeed and want you to do the best and have a win-win mentality. So I came on this podcast not because I'm going to get any benefit on it, because I want you to win, right?
Well, I do hope that there are downstream benefits for you. Like, I hope that, you know, I don't know, maybe some, you know, some young lady in what is it, Buckhead is like the I hope some young lady in Buckhead sees you know, this dapper gentleman named Steve, and she's like, oh, I want to. I'm feeling all frothy in the loins. I want to like meet that guy, you know. But
so if anybody's out there with frothy loins, let me know.
But so I'll address this question. I feel like
I'm falling on Beavis and Butthead, bro.
I'll address this question to Bryan.
I don't have the cool facial hair like Bryan has.
Well, you know, just you know, maybe you should
Even
get on.
You've got it. I'm like a clean shaven guy. So
I'm like I'm trying to like sculpt my face so that I can grow a beard, because like I don't. If you'll notice, like the facial hair doesn't come in like over here, so I'm just like slowly trying to grow a beard. But is there
just go all winter? Start now and go all winter, and don't trim, and get you a gnarly like beast of a beard that looks just absolutely ridiculous, and then go spend like $100 with a barber and have him tighten that up for you, and then maintain it.
Okay.
No thanks. I'm gonna stick with clean shaven.
You have no problems. I know you.
No, I've got no. I can't grow it very easily. It doesn't come in. My Icelandic background, no good.
So, so Bryan, what is a common pitfall that, because when we're talking about attracting women, what is a common pitfall that you see most men making, and is there like an example from your past of you making like a, you know, like failing to attract women?
Holy crap, what a great question. Go ahead, Bryan. Sorry.
It's wonderful. So for me, I'll just speak for myself, and I think other men do this too, and it's something that I'm currently working on, is qualifying. I think that qualifying is the biggest loss of attraction to a woman when you sit around and I've got this and I've got that and I've done this and self-qualify here and self-qualify, look at me, I'm peacocking. I think that as men start growing and maturing and understanding the game, that the real trick is to not qualify. So that would be my answer, is qualification. And learning how to not qualify is complicated, because I think we all naturally want to talk about ourselves. I think that men and women love to talk about themselves and what they've done, what they've accomplished. And, you know, we want to seem big. Our ego wants us to tell all of these stories that were phenomenal. And there's a way to tell a story where you are telling it in a way that you're not qualifying, but you're making it interesting. And you're setting a movie scene. So shifting your mindset from qualifying to telling a movie makes it go from, you know, I'm young, dumb, and don't know what I'm doing, and I'm not calibrated, to a more attractive conversation in general. Mm-hmm. Steve, how about for you?
Have you taken over the host? Oh.
I got this.
So I would agree. I'm trying to get my light messed up here. So give me a.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get this cat that's fucking yapping up a storm. Do you want to be in here or not?
Good luck with that.
I'm listening to you though.
It's a cat. they want to and also not want to at the same time.
It's the nature of cats. Girls like that too.
Actually, this is a perfect analogy because women are like cats, and you need to implement like cat string theory. If you just like shove a string in a cat's face, here, do you want this? Do you want this? It's a good string. The cat's gonna be like, nah, I don't want this.
I don't want it.
But if you if you kind of like disqualify the string, you know, like lead it along a little bit, make it a little bit hard to obtain the string, the cat's gonna be like, what's this string? Like, I want the string, you know. So like women are very much like that. You need to like thinly veil your value proposition and make it, you know, like play a little bit hard to get, you know.
Well, I mean, I heard it said the best of like even with men, like if you know the end of the movie or you know what is the end of the video game, if you switch straight from opening credits to the end of the movie, nobody wants to watch that. They want to watch it for 2 seconds and then they figured it out and they move on.
Yeah.
But if you like open it up and then you build a storyline and you lay out a cool, interesting thing, and then there's ups and downs and ebbs and flows and different tonalities, and you're speaking in that type of manner, and you're producing a movie that is a mystery. How is the movie going to end? Then everybody wants to watch that movie, male and female. Steve, did you get your light fixed?
Nah, it's still I don't exist. I'm not dark.
Well, I can see you fine. Like you're you're good enough.
I'm just vain. That's all.
Yeah. So Steve, what is a common pitfall you see most men making with regards to attracting women, and what's a pitfall from your past that you have?
Okay, so we'll talk about the two things. So I've had quite a few dates in the past couple years. By far, and it's not even close, the number one complaint that women have about men is that they're not masculine enough. And what I mean by that is that they don't have a level of masculine presence. They don't make plans. They don't take initiative, right? That doesn't mean that you have to be, you do this and you do that, but you're the one that, you know, okay, we're going to go here. And then if she doesn't like it, then you can kind of adjust as you go along. Think about it as the way you would organize it if you had a kid and you're going to take them to a restaurant, or you're going to take them to an event, right? They may give you some feedback, but in general, you're the one that's taking the lead to do that. That's just one example, but there's other things too, right? That you have a sense of purpose, that you have boundaries. Those are all elements of masculinity, and I would say that that by far that is what's lacking. And if you could get that to a certain extent, then to a large extent, then you're going to do very, very well with women. And that's what most of the women that I've gone out with have been explicit about that. So a lot of times I have a thing that I will send a girl. I'm going on a date. I say this verbatim. I will plan the date. Your job is to show up, look pretty, you know, have a great time, and let me take the lead. And 1 out of 20 will get mad about that because I say I take the lead, right? But I get volcanic positive reaction to that because it's me taking initiative. Yeah. To the point where I've had probably at least half the women that I do this are like, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That sounds like so much fun. I would love that. I just get to shut my brain off and have a great time. So by far, that's the best. And I'm reasonably good at that. So that hasn't been my biggest constraint. I would say my biggest constraint is, well, there's a lot of small ones, but probably the biggest one I have is that I either talk too much, and so I'm not asking them about their situation. There was another one that I had thought about that I can't remember. Hold on, it'll pop into my head. That's probably being more self-centered. And then also, the biggest one is that I have had a tendency to over-explain or to be too serious. So, for example, if somebody says, where am I from? I'll say, I grew up in Canada, right? That is boring and it's too serious and it comes across job interviewee, right? She says, where are you from? I say, I grew up in a strange foreign land and you have to guess where I came. And we start playing a game, right? It's the same thing and she's going to guess. And I say, well, I'll give you a hint. I'm super tall. Or I give her a hint, I dress like this or whatever. I don't use specific things I'm trying to get her off, but I make it into a game. And so to the extent that I used to be, and I always explain stuff, right? I'd say, I grew up here, I did this, I did that, I did this. Now when everybody asks me what I do, I don't tell them right away. I say I rob banks, or I was I'm an assassin, or whatever. The point is that to be playful, right?
Yep.
Get around, and I've always had that in me, but I kind of let it fade, and I've really been focusing it on a lot more. And for me, that has been phenomenal because it's fun, right? By the way, I'm doing that with you guys right now, and I'm doing that with Bryan, him with the massive.
And I mean, I think that we all had that. We all had that when we were 6. We would go out, we'd play with our friends, and we would just have a good time. We wouldn't worry about we would razz each other. We would, make some big orchestra out of something. Imagination, we're in a fairyland and we're all castle and we're about to go joust and we're going to fight swords and all of that playful energy, coming back into tune with that while still being able to lead is, I think, an attractive masculine character.
Yep. And there's something else too, which is a big part of the MOA process. And that is a concept called breaking rapport. And that is something that generates an enormous amount of attraction in women. And if you think about it, the biggest one is humor, but there's other ones you could do as well. And it's basically defying the expectations of a woman or of a person, right? It works with guys too, right? So if I say, the best thing to do is to wear rabbit ears, right? Big pink rabbit ears. It's just different. It's unique, and that's not the best joke, but the idea is that it's different, right? And so if you think about, not so much when you're 6 and 7, although it happened a bit. Remember back to when you were 13, 14, 15, or early 20s, and you were with your guy friends. What would we all do to each other? We'd fucking bust each other's balls, right?
Yeah.
We'd bust them hard.
But it wasn't mean-spirited. Sometimes it would go over to that, but most of the time it wasn't, because they're your buds, right? But you would bust on them, right? And you'd kill them. And you'd tease them like crazy, Said, oh, you didn't do very well with that girl, all that kind of stuff, right? But the idea is that you were doing it back and forth, and then you got into that mindset, and then if you take that mindset and do that with women, so they don't feel like you think of them as strange foreign creatures, or that you're afraid of them. They're just kidding around.
And also, one of the and this has been my thing, is showing intent, because one of the best ways to break rapport is to not show intent, because think about it, think about, you're this insanely attractive, youthful, fertile woman. Your experience in life is just that every male that looks at you is just thinking oh man, she'd be fun to fuck, And so if you can just be that one guy who looks at her like a human being, actually wants to get to know her, treat her like a human, treat her like
and
you
tease
would
her
want to be,
and tease her.
She's gonna see you as different than 99.9% of the guys that she encounters throughout her life, So
day.
Yeah. I've really started to actually befriend women without the intent of sticking my pecker inside them, and it's definitely
Absolutely.
It's definitely different as a change of pace for me, but I've noticed, because there are things that male friends are good for, and there are things that female friends are good for. If I get into a brawl with the greasers and they want to cave my head in, I don't want a bunch of girlfriends. I want my guy friends to cover my back. But if let's say I wanna go on to a yacht, on a yacht with a billionaire, I want my girlfriends. My girlfriends are gonna get me access to certain scarce environments that my guy friends are not gonna be able to get me on. So it's good to have a good combination of people.
A champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, 100%. So. But the biggest thing, we talked about that, is that when you're around pretty girls, just have fun, right? just have fun, because by trying to have fun and not saying, "Oh, I really want to have my semen inside of your vagina so we can make babies," but it's more along the lines of, we're just having fun, and then that puts you in the right mood where you don't show intent because you're just having fun, and she's going to see you as a leader, because if you're the guy that's having fun and making things happen and kidding around, forget girls, just guys will be attracted to you. And when you're seen as a leader of men, and people like you, they can't help but be attracted. So to the extent that you do that, great. So less explaining, less seriousness, more teasing, more kidding around, and be masculine and make the plans.
All right, so I'm just going to take one last break. I'm going to deliver my last advertisement. So, guys, let's talk about a top dog in the wealth advisory space. I'm talking about Joe Ventura at Eden Advisory Services. Joe's been in the investment business for over 40 years. That's 4 decades of helping everyday people, teachers, entrepreneurs, retirees, build their path to financial independence. Whether you've got 5,000 or 5 million, Joe and his team treat every client like a millionaire. Eden Advisory Services is a registered investment advisor headquartered in New York, but they work with clients across the entire country. They clear all investment transactions through Charles Schwab, a name that millions can trust. From basic budgeting and credit repair to comprehensive wealth management and estate planning, even financial, legal, and insurance strategies, Eden Advisory Services is your one-stop financial partner. Joe Ventura is more than an advisor. He's your financial guy. Hundreds of people have come to know and trust Joe Ventura's advice with millions of dollars under management. So if you're ready to take the next step, whether it's fixing your credit, planning for retirement, or leaving something behind for your loved ones, start with good faith and let Eden Advisory Services guide the way. Visit EdenASC.com to schedule your free consultation. Eden Advisory Services, LLC is a registered investment advisor in the state of New York. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or trading. Facts. Sorry. I was just getting a chat came in. Eden Advisory Services LLC is a registered investment advisor in the state of New York. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. Advisory services are only offered to clients or prospective clients where Eden Advisory Services LLC and its representatives are properly licensed or exempt from licensure. All investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. The advertisement is for informational purposes only and does not constitute a recommendation or offer to buy or sell any securities. Would you like to continue your financial path in good faith? Then contact Joe Ventura and Eden Advisory Services, investing in people, not just portfolios.
I like that ad.
Yeah, and if anybody is interested in advertising with me or whatever, you can find my Patreon link in the description. I'm always taking on new sponsors and endorsing their products. By the way, Steve, you said you invest in small businesses. What is the lowest amount of startup capital that you need to do that?
Well, technically zero would be the lowest. That very rarely happens. The idea is that here's the thing. I don't know how much detail you want me to get into on this, because it could be a little dry. But basically, any business, whether it's a laundromat or a car wash, a gas station, a bar, a small software company, whatever the case may be, they typically have a stream of revenue, and profit. A lot of them are run by older guys that don't have heirs, and so they're looking to at some point cash out, because if you have a business like this, it can be difficult to sell it. And so I'll come in and I'll buy it. I'll buy it for a reasonable price, and sometimes the seller will help me finance it, and sometimes I just have to come up with all cash. But I'm looking for certain kinds of companies. The typically ones that I'm looking for are ones where I can easily see a path to double or triple or quadruple the sales. And then you end up improving the profits quite a bit. So I did that at a very high level when I was consulting. We worked with major companies like MCI and AT&T and Marriott and places like that. And now I'm doing it for small situations. So any business would work, right? I mean, it could be, I looked at a water tank inspection company. So, every city has a water tank. Well, they have to have an inspection, and there's a very specialized process to do that, and they have to pay for it. So, that's actually a really good business. So, but there's all kinds of stuff like that out there.
And Bryan, I know you're really big into AI. So if I wanted to if I wanted to have AI work for me, what are a few apps, or what is the best app to have on my phone? I have Grok and ChatGPT, and how can I leverage artificial intelligence to work for me and maximize my productivity?
Well, that's a great question. So the thing to do is to come up with a master prompt. In a master prompt, what you have is you are stacking personas. So, for instance, if you wanted you to make a content creator AI, you can tell it that you want it to be a PhD level in literature, language arts, best-selling novelist with 100 books sold. You can stack all these different personas. You can then give it a tone. You may want it to have a business sense, like, I don't know, names Ty Lopez or Grant Cardone or Elon Musk. You may want it to talk like, I don't know, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Oh, that would be a funny one because everything would be stellar and celestial. But you
And it would be arrogant.
Yes, yes. But so you can build a master prompt, and there are resources out there we actually offer as part of our service, creating a master prompt for you. But it could be, as detailed as you want, and then you feed it a bunch of your SOPs for your company, what your current marketing is. You can have it go index your website. You can do all of these things that will roughly create a you, but with 50 plus IQ points and perfect grammar. Then, as you're creating something like, let's say, for instance, you're creating a social media marketing strategy, you can just ask it to create you a 30-day social content calendar. And it'll go through after you've already stacked all these personas and it knows your writing style, and you maybe sent it a couple that you like. You create this master kind of prompt, and it could be 5 pages long. So then once you go into AI, we'll call it ChatGPT as an example, because most people have that. Grok is super popular too. Chat's a little dumber. Grok is a little more wordy. Claude is really great for doing these types of things, but it's a little more woke. Perplexity is really phenomenal. It does a lot of fact checking for you out the door, out the gate. But you could take these big master prompts, copy and paste them into the chat as you start. And then, so it's already pre-made. You roughly created an artificial intelligence person, like your ideal secretary, sales team, and everything in one chat. And then you can kind of give them different tasks. So one of them could be strictly this. One of them could be just replying to emails. One could be, for instance, a super secret thing. It could maybe even handle some dating advice. You can set them up to be all different aspects of your life that you could need: your business coach, your therapist. And the cool thing about it is that, it's all on your phone or on your laptop. So you have access to any mundane task that you don't want to do. As an example, I frequently write emails to clients, and I need them to be already proofread, proper grammar, not too long, not too short, engaging with some fact checking, etc. So I have one that's specifically for emails, where I will type up the whole email, copy and paste that into my pre-made persona, and then the output comes out flawlessly the way that I want, better written and more business centric. So that's what we do for a lot of our customers, is to be able to guide them down how to be a prompt engineer, which I believe will be the next 6-figure job is understanding how to write and format your prompts correctly.
Absolutely.
It's just like Google. If you go to Google and you don't ask the right question, you don't get an answer that you're looking for. The new thing is prompt engineering with artificial intelligence. If you don't know how to stack your personas correctly and to be able to get, a finely detailed output that is the style of you, but you plus 50 points, and then also perfect grammar with no misspellings in a proper business format, and that will dramatically increase retention rate, top of sales funnels. I mean, it will just, every aspect of the business can increase. Now, one of the things that is a secret undercover thing, but I tell people about, Claude is really phenomenal because it already writes very well copy, phenomenal copy, short form copy. Don't have it write a book for you, but it will write short form copy very well and regurgitate very well. And you can go into Claude and you can already upload your business docs, your bunch of emails. You can upload so many different aspects of your business. And so each new chat you create is already populated with this master prompt. And so unlike chat or Grok, where you got to like paste it into every new chat if you want it to be that, Claude, you can actually business wide across your entire business platform, you can have all your SOPs, your sales transcriptions from your meetings that you had last week about your sales goals and all the things that were, talked about. You can actually get those out of certain applications and put them as a pre-loaded information, a database, as you will, already ready to go. Not the same as a RAG database, like a pre-master prompt engineered assistant that knows everything that you can ask. Like, what was our goals for last week? What was what was our sales for the first quarter? How did last year's first quarter and this year's first quarter match up? And it can like make you content creation. I mean, it can really like leverage multiple aspects of a business to help it grow. And that's what I think most people lack or don't understand about. They just want to ask it like, what's the weather? Or where does a 40-year-old male go to find big booty hoes in Atlanta on a Thursday night? Which is all perfectly fine, and it will tell you all the cool stuff. But utilizing it in business is super leverageable that people don't understand and can do yet.
Can I add one thing to that, Chris?
Yeah, go for it.
One of the things that I found just to build on what Bryan said, is that one of the biggest values that I've seen from using AI, and I use mostly Grok. Mm-hmm. I use ChatGPT some, but Grok is improving at such a rapid rate, and it's great.
Sure.
So what I found is that you give it prompts and you describe your business problem or your business situation, and you can have a really, really long prompt. Like my prompt might be 1,000 or 1,500 or 2,000 words describing a business that I'm looking at. And then I give it the attitude I want. I tell it to give me no BS. I don't want any woke stuff. So I say that in the prompt, right? And then I get a result, and then I look at the result, and here's where the value is. You look at the result, and then you say, okay, I like that result, but change this aspect, or what about this? And then run it again, and then change something else and run it again. And then what you do is you refine it over and over again. So it's not the first answer you get back. It's the iterative process of asking it over and over again, increasingly fine questions, and you can get into some really great ideas. The other thing it's great for is give me a bunch of ideas, or give me some ideas about this. What could I do, right? And it'll give you 20 suggestions, or give me the top 10 suggestions, gives you 10. Give me the top 20 suggestions, give you 20. You say, okay, I like 1, 7, 9, 12, and 15. Keep those, ditch the rest, give me 5 more, right? Do that over and over and over and over again. It's the iteration, the constantly refining the thing where I get the most value out of it, because if you ask the question the right way, you'll get a pretty good answer. But then you take that answer and look at it, use your brain, and then ask a refined question based upon that over and over again. And often you can't ask the refined question because you don't know what you're going to get until you see it. So you ask the first question, you see it, and then ask the refined question over and over again. Phenomenal in that respect. So it's just like what Bryan says, where I've used it for my health, I've used it for my business, I've used it for a whole bunch of things. my social life, that type of thing. But I keep iterating, and it remembers what I do, and that's where the true value comes in.
So
another thing too with Grok is that Grok will remember. It can remember what you said in other chats.
Yeah, I've
So
noticed that.
Grok will remember what you said in a few other different chats back and will regurgitate that information, whereas chat will not do that. Chat wills, like, each chat in ChatGPT is its own entity.
Yeah, I didn't like that about ChatGPT. Yeah, because I've used Grok, like, here, Grok, how do I get rid of this echo, and, like, here's all the equipment that I'm using on my setup, and, like, it'll be like, oh, well, you're using the the Blue Yeti and the Apple iMac and the Elgato Stream Deck, and, like, it knows exactly what I'm working with, and it'll help me. I think I'm gonna, like, try and build a Donald Draper from Mad Men prompt, and like, have it teach me how to, like, pick up more sponsors and advertisers, for the podcast or something like that.
Interestingly enough, you can actually, like, as you're going through, like what Steve said, where you're going through iterations, then at the end of that, you can copy all that into a new chat, and you can take those, and what is very helpful too is that to be able to take what you've said in Grok, then go ask the same question and maybe even paste a bunch of what Grok said into chat, and then take that to Perplexity, take that to Claude. Then you could take all of those and go back to chat and say, simplify all of this. And it's got, so many different revisions from the different AIs, but you're roughly using them all together and or against each other, however you want to look at it. And I've literally had chat start hallucinating on me, and I tell it not to hallucinate, and it still hallucinates. And then I say, okay, well, how about this? If you don't give me the right answer this time, I'm going to go ask for Grok. I'm going to go ask Grok the same question, because you're not. Oh, I'm so sorry. Here's the actual good quality output. And so, threatening it, like, obviously, I don't want you to, like, have Terminator show up at your door one day and be like, you remember when you said you were going to go over here? Well, what's up? But that is something that people can do, is leverage. Talk to it as if it's a personal assistant. If you're not producing what I need, I'm going to go back to Fiverr, and I'm going to go and hire somebody else. So those types of things can be really valuable too.
Okay. All right. Well,
and then, by the way, just real quick, what you can also do is after you do this, is tell it, okay, give me a more concise prompt to be able to use it, and it will take all the stuff that you've written and write it down in a more concise manner, so then you can copy and paste it in the future.
I do that a lot when I call it papers. I said, write me a paper on this subject at a college level, paper, and it will take days worth of information and put it down into, like, a 2 or 3 page summary, for lack of better words. But you want it to be highly detailed with all things. Oh, and another very crucial thing that people don't know to do is that while you're trying to do something, ask chat, please output this along with other questions that I have yet to think to ask you. And there will be
bingo. That's exactly it. Yeah, it's actually, what did I miss? Exactly.
Yeah, what have I missed, or what haven't I thought of? And it will be able to, like, grind through ideas that you didn't even know that you didn't know.
Yep.
And that you can incorporate that back into your system prompt or your master prompt.
Yeah, some of it will be crap, right? Some of it will be like, you forgot to consider the fact of having a costume party at the old folks' home, right? So some of it'll be crap, but there'll be some nuggets in there that'll be fantastic. Then you go through and take the nuggets, and that's part of the iterative process.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
well,
point, Brian.
This is all great, and I'm sure I'll be reaching out to you guys in the future, with some questions that I have. And I mean, the single best part about Men of Action is it's truly like a vast resource of knowledge, whether it's, wanting to know how to trade options, whether it's wanting to know how to cut carbs and increase muscle mass, whether it's wanting to know how to attract a girl, or interview, like, a compelling podcast episode, or if I want to, buy a car, and this guy knows all about cars, or this guy knows all about wealth advisory, or I want to know how to generate like a. Yo, Dylan, thank you. And speaking of Dylan, Dylan, when I'm done here, I'm gonna watch your that video you sent me. Whether it's doing a man on the street interview, and because I'm trying to get into the man on the street interview. I'm just like I have all the equipment. I guess I have like enough equipment to like get started. I just need to like push myself to do it, because I'm so comfortable now.
But you're a man of action now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's about time to wrap it up.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says
This has been fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself.
I like to ask my guests to do a few things as like a homework assignment. So I'm gonna ask you guys to both promote the ever living fuck out of this episode. If there's some attractive lady in Buckhead, or
Yes.
your aunt in Biloxi, or whoever you think would enjoy watching this, send them a link to this episode, and I'll send you guys a link after if you're interested. Promote the ever living hell out of this, so that we can all get famous and we can all eat together. That's the first homework assignment. 2 is, if you have any ideas of like a friend or somebody who would be good as like a guest on my podcast, connect us. I'm always looking for new guests to have on. Those 2 things.
Sounds good.
All right.
I'd like to come. I want to pick your brain offline about doing a podcast, because I want to do one for people that are interested in developing D1 athletes. What's it like to prepare to be a D1 athlete? What's it like to be a D1 athlete? And what's it like afterwards to be a D1 athlete? And how some go pro, but most don't. I didn't
even ask you guys. I wanted to talk about this. Are you guys sports fans down in like Georgia? Like, cause
football, baby.
Yeah. Okay.
SEC. What's up?
You guys are.
Well,
Bulldogs
my kids were
fans?
ACC kids, but pardon me.
You guys are Bulldog fans? Is that your?
I like football. My favorite is, I like college, and I'm about to have a lot of my friends get mad at me, but I love the NFL. I just think the NFL is just golden. So I like the Falcons. I like any of that kind of stuff. In fact, when I was out in Vegas, I did something. I won a bunch of money playing roulette, and I bought a ticket, $100 bet, 80-1 odds on the Falcons winning the Super Bowl.
Wow. So what's the payout? 8,000 is the payout?
8,100. It would be,
Nice.
You get the 100 back plus 8,000. Yeah.
Okay.
The likelihood of the Falcons win the Super Bowl is low, but
Yeah.
but if they make the playoffs, the odds will get better. I can just bet the alternative, so it's just fun.
I'm a huge Michael Penix fan. I think that he's gonna take that next step in his sophomore year.
I hope so, because they've got a really good receiver, and they've got the best running back in the league.
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson is really good.
And your tight end is ripe with potential. He's never put it all together. Yep. I think, and it's actually crazy because Penix spent 6 years in college, so he's actually like the same age, or he's the same age as Kyle Pitts, even though Kyle Pitts is in his 4th year in the NFL.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Penix is actually, I think Penix might be actually older than Pitts. But
yeah, I mean, I think he's older than a bunch of the quarterbacks that are ahead of him already, like Jaden Daniels and a few other guys like that too.
Yeah.
So let's hope for the best. But I mean, I just love the sport. I mean, I coach kids football. I played football up in Canada. I think football is the best. It really is. It's great on so many levels. So
yeah, my team's the Eagles, and we're loaded.
Oh, congrats.
with Georgia. Yeah, we're loaded with Georgia Bulldogs. We got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nakobe Dean, like just all those all
Who's
those
that other? They have another guy that was a small defense edge rusher as well.
Nolan Smith.
Yeah,
Is that yeah.
yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, like our whole defense is just loaded with Georgia Bulldogs.
and
So
your offense is all Alabama.
yeah,
Jalen
yeah.
Carter,
Yeah, like
Well,
Devontae
our
Smith. You just got
you're
the new guy
snatching up
Mechie
all the
too.
SEC, bro.
what
What's
was that?
I said snatching up all the SEC.
Yeah,
Exactly.
we like our I didn't approve of our GM for the longest time. He always tried to get too cute and outthink his like strategy. And it seems like in the last few years he's just kind of been like, you know what? Let me just draft these SEC guys from Georgia and Alabama, and since we started doing that, like our team is just great, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I got one last segment, and this is pretty thought provoking. So I apologize if I apologize if this is too much to do, but this is called 3 Truths. So, if you guys were to live a long and fruitful life, and I hope that you both do, I hope that you live to whatever age you hope to be, and when you pass away, you're surrounded by your loving family. But when you go, all your life's work goes with you. So every term paper that you ever wrote about patriarchy theory, every Reddit post and every forum on the internet that you ever posted disappears. Every text message and email and social media post that you ever composed goes with you into the grave, except you are able to leave behind these 3 truths. What would your 3 truths be?
Oh, okay. Well,
Wow.
I would definitely have to say gratitude. Gratitude is one of those things that, I really think that people should cultivate in their lives. I found that the more grateful I am and the more appreciative I am of my circumstances or just waking up every day or people I get to hang out with, like the more I show gratitude, just life is just amazing. Um, the next one would be, um, that pain is a teacher and not a punishment. Um, for instance, like even something as simple as being in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
like that no pain, no gain mentality is true. Like pain is the strongest tree is the one that's been stomped down when it was little, and it grows up to be the strongest tree in the forest. So I'd love everybody just to consider that pain is how we move out of our comfort zone and into the next chapter of our lives. Um, and then being present, like understanding that, like, if you're worried about what happened yesterday or when I was raging alcoholic or stuff like that, that just leads to like this really like dark, like I'm not good enough mentality. And if you're worried about the stuff in the future that hasn't come here yet, you're just stressed about, oh my God, how am I, what am I going to do in 10 years to be the best version of myself? That's not what it's about. And what it's about is like choosing in this moment to be the person you want to be. Like being able to like live in this moment and understand that this moment is the present is the present. Like it is the gift. And being able to like just focus on not what's depressing you or stressing you out, but right now, like what can I do right now to get that 1% gain? How can I enjoy this moment a little better? And so I think that's the flow of life as living in the present. Those would be my 3.
Okay. Okay. Steve, do you wanna do you have any that you can think of off the top of your head?
Sure. You know, buy Bitcoin.
Don't buy Bitcoin right now.
No. Well, you never know, right? Probably the biggest one is that you have to, I mean, this is something that I always believed, but it was been reinforced being part of Michael's group, is you're better off to take action than to sit there and think.
Yep.
because you'll take action and you're going to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is, but if you take the action, you will be making the mistakes while you are advancing the ball. And so that would be number one. Number two is internalize a concept, and it's very difficult to there's two sides of it. It's the concept of a barrier-free standard, or what does perfect look like? And so in any business or acquiring a skill or whatever the case may be, what you want to do, and this is the way from a business perspective that you break out of a mindset where like I can only grow the company 5% or do whatever, is that what would perfect look like? If everything was perfect, if I had perfect information, perfect skill, the right people, they're trained properly, I've got all the materials that I need, I've got all the information I need, the customers are, what could I do, right? And then measure yourself or your company based upon a percent of perfect. It doesn't always work, but the idea is that if you can do it that way, what you'll realize is that normally there's a giant gap between where you are and where you could be, or conversely, a business is there's a giant gap between where you are and where you could be. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that all you have to do is tackle the things that are between where you are and where you want to be. That's usually it's not usually one big thing. There's usually hundreds and hundreds of small things, right? And just start attacking those small things, and your improvement will increase an amazing amount by just focusing on fixing the problems.
Mm-hmm.
So first one would be, take action. Number two is understand what your perfect looks like, and then focus on taking action towards the perfect. And the third one, I agree with Bryan, is that live a life of gratitude and live a life of, because we are living in even the poorest person right now lives better than a king did 200 years ago, with the one exception of a lack of power. But in almost every other material aspect of life, a poor person right now is better off. Better health care, better food, better entertainment, a cleaner environment, all that other, lack of, a level of societal protection that didn't exist back then. And so we live in truly what is a golden age right now. And the problem is that everybody sits there and says, hey, I only make $80,000 and I have trouble making bills. And I'm looking at all these people that are making more than me. And oh, if it was great. Well, the reality is if you're making $80,000, you're better than 99% of people that are currently living now and 99.9% of people that have ever lived on the face of the earth. And so it's very humbling when you think about it that way. But we live in a really terrific time, and it's gonna 10 years from now or 20 years from now, with all the technology change, it's gonna be way beyond that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Those are my three.
All right. Well, this is a great place to wrap up on. I hope all of our viewers have a lot to think about, ruminate on this stuff, because these guys are dropping great knowledge. I want to, just speaking of gratitude, I want to share my overwhelming gratitude with both you guys. I hope that nothing but success and fulfillment and satisfaction await you in your future. And yeah, thank you guys for coming on, and it's been a pleasure. This was a great episode.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris.
So much. Thanks, man.
All right.
We'll see you soon.
I'm gonna switch over to our outro right now. And guys, our next scheduled episode is Sunday. I'm bringing on Kareem. He's my my coach and my mentor. He lives in Mexico City, but he's been all over the world. It's awesome. Maybe we'll have the pleasure of showing some of his social media, because I really think the guy has a more interesting travel itinerary, a travel itinerary more interesting than Indiana Jones. The guy's literally like the Dos Equis guy. He's the most interesting man in the world. Anyway, yeah, that's Sunday at 2:00 p.m. So I hope you'll join me for that. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up.
Though the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
I want to let you know that by turning on the notification bell, you can be notified whenever I go live. Once again, I want to humbly thank our listeners and pay them ample gratitude for your patronage. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have such a high-quality interactive show. So thank you, thank you, thank you, audience.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yup.
I'd also like to remind all of our listeners that we're spreading like a virus. The Good Faith Podcast is now officially on YouTube Live with video as well as archived on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, RSS.com, Amazon Music, Samsung Podcasts, Listen Notes, iHeartRadio, and Patreon. Plus, we're on Twitch Live, too. On Patreon, we're working to build additional value for the multiple tiers of donors with special content, super chat priority, VIP in-person meetings. We do value your attention, so thank you for quieting your TikTok brain for the last 3 hours. This is a reminder, if you feel you got any value from our show, it takes basically zero extra work to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It'll move us closer to our goal of having thousands of subscribers, which will bump us up in the algorithm, expose us to more potential listeners. If you guys want to share us with more of your friends, we would be absolutely delighted to extend our outreach. The quickest way for us to broaden our exposure is for you listeners to each share us with one friend. We appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. If you live in the greater Philadelphia area, you want to guest star on the show in person, or, basically if you live anywhere in the world and you want to be on a Zoom call, now I'm like connecting with people all over the world. Hit me up in an Instagram at Christopher Bulick. The Patreon link's in the description. All proceeds will go towards rent, food, electricity, new computer equipment to improve our general show quality, and Clark's medical expenses. My cat is an epileptic, so if he doesn't have phenobarbital twice a day, he'll seize up and perish, and that will be on you. His blood will be on your hands. So you guys gotta make sure that you pay me my money. I want this bag. To all of our faithful audience,
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yup.
We
we wish you a wonderful weekend, a happy and healthy lifestyle, and to all of you, we bid you goodbye.
Gone. Goodbye. And if you need money, sell rocks. I heard that's what they do around here.